Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Wednesday, the 22nd of November. Good to have you aboard, part of the Believe Podcast Network, and presented as always by our title sponsor, everything ZASLOW Show 2.0, Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. 800-747-3733. You've been involved in any kind of an accident, hit and run, slip and fall, motorcycle, car, boating accident. First you call 911, then you get an attorney on the phone. You let Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys put their skills to work for you and get you the compensation you deserve. Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. 800-747-3733. Got a fun show planned today. We got another great sports night. I don't know. It sucks when it's the playoffs because you don't want to divide your attention. But do we like it when the Heat and Panthers play on the same night in the regular season? We don't like it when it's home games because maybe you want to go to the games. Tonight, the Heat are on the road. The Panthers are at home. Do we like having both going on at the same time? I guess I would rather just like every night either the Heat play or the Panthers play, but it also makes it kind of exciting. We're like on Monday night, we get lots of double dips. On Monday night, you had both play, and tonight you got both playing. Our guy, Ed Jovanovski, all-time great Florida Panther, Bally Sports, Florida. Game's not on Bally tonight. It's a national game, NHL on TNT, but Jovo Cop's going to join us here. Always love having Ed on the program, so we'll talk Panther hockey with him. And of course, it's holiday season, baby. Holiday season is off and rolling. NFL is in full stride. NBA, NHL, and that means Bet Online, your number one destination for all your sports wagering info. Up to the minute sports wagering news, odds, trends, predictions. Bet Online is the top spot for everything pro wrestling. That'd be amazing. For everything pro and amateur sports. And not just the big four. Bet Online has info available at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access at any time for almost any sport that's played, from MMA to international soccer. Matter of fact, we have checked out WWE prop bets on Bet Online before pro wrestling. Head to the Bet Online today. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. So, all right, we got a lot of fun planned today. Hope everybody's ready for the holiday. If you're not working today and you're still listening, if you're already ready for the holiday and you're listening to ZASLOW Show 2.0 today, I appreciate you guys hanging out with us today and still fitting our show in during your holiday week. We're not going to do a show tomorrow, but we will be back on Friday because we got Dolphins football, baby. Man, I wish I thought of this like a couple months ago. Friday, you got Dolphins at Jets. MetLife takeover. Oh, Dolphins are going to take that ass. You got Dolphins Jets on Friday in the afternoon. And then you got Heat at Knicks in the evening on Friday at Madison Square Garden. Is anyone doing both? I want to know. Who's doing both? Are you making a trip? I wish I thought of this a couple months ago. That would have been something that I would have seriously considered. I mean, how fun is that? So if you're hardcore and you're doing that, good for you. I am jealous. Anyway, that's what we got coming up Friday. So yes, we're going to take off tomorrow. We'll do a show on Friday. We'll get right back at it. Everyone's very excited for the holiday. You're excited for Thanksgiving. You got the good food. We're doing Thanksgiving here at the ZASLOW Mansion, so I'm very excited about that. And we got the football tomorrow. Here's what we got. Triple header, of course. Green Bay at Detroit. Okay. Washington at Dallas. Okay. I mean, Cowboys have won, I think 11, maybe it's 12 by now. I think 11 in a row at home. And San Francisco at Seattle. So, and that's actually a fun NFC West matchup because you got Seattle a game back of San Francisco. San Francisco looks like they're rolling again. Seattle's a much better team at home than they are on the road. So the games aren't great. None of those games are really good. Washington, Dallas, obviously a huge rivalry. But Washington absolutely stinks. Ron Rivera is so close to getting fired. And Green Bay at Detroit, I mean, the Packers are coming off a win over the Chargers, but they're terrible. Detroit's likely going to fuck them up. So those are the three games tomorrow. Then you got the Dolphins, of course, on Friday afternoon. All right, so you know what? Let's get right at it here. It's Wednesday. You know how we do on Wednesday, getting ready for the new week of NFL. But right smack in the middle of the week, you're either feeling one way or the other, right? So which fan bases going into week 12 are feeling good times and which are having hard times, Daddy?
Hard times are when the auto workers are out of work and they tell them go home. And hard times are when a man has worked at a job 30 years. 30 years. They give him a watch, kick him in the butt, and say, hey, a computer took your place, Daddy. That's hard time. That's hard time.
That's right. Thank you, Dusty. So good times and hard times, Daddy, as we tell you which NFL fan bases are feeling one way or the other going into week 12. We'll start out with the teams, fan bases that are feeling good times right now. Number 3, Texans fan. Texan fan feels really good right now because, yes, you know you got a quarterback in C.J. Stroud. Yes, your quarterback is in the MVP conversation, which is amazing. Yes, they are in the playoff picture right now. And yes, they are one game back. They are a loss back of number 1 in the AFC. They're not going to get number 1. They may not even make the playoffs. But the reality is there is a 5-way tie for teams with 3 losses, and then the Texans have 4. So Texan fan is having good times right now. Number 2, the Ravens fan is having good times. The Ravens have catapulted after their win last Thursday against the Cincinnati Bengals. They are number 1 in the AFC right now. 8-3. They haven't had a bye yet, so they're ahead of everybody else because they have an extra win. The Ravens fan is having good times right now. Number 1 in the AFC. And the team that's having the best times, the most good times right now, the Eagles fan. Eagles have the best record in the NFL at 9-1 and come off a great road win at the Kansas City Chiefs. Even if I'm down on the Chiefs, that's still a great win. So teams, fan base that are having good times right now. Number 3, Texans. Number 2, Ravens. Number 1, the Eagles fan. Now, which fan base are having hard times, Daddy? Number 3, the Minnesota Vikings fans having hard times. Why is that? Well, their 5-game win streak just came to an end, and they probably look at the Texans, and they're like, man, that's a game we should have had. We'd be sitting here at 7-4. Instead, we're 6-5. Now, they do currently still hold the final playoff spot. That's why they're number 3 for hard times. Number 2, Chargers fan. Like, they got a lame duck coach, or at least it feels like they got a lame duck coach. They're 4-6. Team sucks. They just lost to the Green Bay Packers, who also suck. The Chargers, not a good team. Their fan base is having hard times at it. And number 1, the number 1 fan base having the most hard times right now, the New York Jets. I mean, Robert Saleh, he's so wishy-washy, back and forth, doesn't know what he wants. Finally, benches Zach Wilson. Tim Boyle, good luck, because Christian Wilkins, Jalen Phillips, Zach Sealer, they're coming for your ass this Friday afternoon, Tim Boyle. So the Jet fan, they're having the hardest times right now. Number 3, Vikings. Number 2, Chargers. Number 1, the Jets fan is having hard times, Daddy. That's right. And that's another edition of good times and hard times going in to week 12. Now, so like I said, as week 12 gets going tomorrow, we have essentially a 5-way tie for first in the AFC. Yes, Baltimore has the tie. Well, it's not even a tie break. Baltimore's number 1 because they have the best record. They're 8-3, but they haven't had their bye yet. You got to look at the loss column. 5 teams, fucking logjam this AFC. And of course, the Dolphins in the 4 spot right now at 7-3. But the Dolphins, look, we already told you, these next handful of games. So at the Jets, at Commanders, Titans, Monday Night Football, and Jets here. Have to win those 4 games. You know, you get the talk about the Dolphins being a fraud, which is bullshit, because they've only lost to really great teams besides Buffalo. I won't have a leg to stand on in defending the Dolphins if they lose one of these next 4 games. You have to come out of this stretch 11-3. You have to beat the Jets twice, you have to beat the Commanders, and you have to beat the Titans. Because if you lose one of those games, and 11-3 is a crazy good record, but if you lose to one of those teams, you're going to look like a fraud. I won't be able to defend the Dolphins if they aren't sitting 11-3 after this stretch. So that's what you're looking at if you're a Dolphin fan. You're looking at them being 11-3 heading into that final stretch of the season where you have Dallas at Baltimore. Such a monster game. And then at Buffalo, which I already told you, Dolphins are going to have the division wrapped up by then. But I want the Bills to still have a chance at the playoffs going into that game. And the Dolphins then end their season. And the Dolphins send them home. So I want the Bills to win just enough to get their hope, those Bills fans' hopes up, jumping through tables like idiots. I want them to have their hopes up just enough so that they come here week 18 and the Dolphins throw them through tables. That's right. You're not jumping through tables on your own volition. The Dolphins are throwing you on tables. Matter of fact, they're lighting those tables with kerosene and they're lighting a match and then they're supplexing you through those tables. That's what I want at a week 18. But you got to get to that spot if you're the Dolphins. You got to make sure you already have this AFC East clinched, all right? So that's what I'm talking about. I want the Dolphins wrapping up this division by then, but the Bills to tease their fan base. Now, as far as the Dolphins go, I got to play this for you. And I don't normally like to do this here because the show is taking it's taking a nosedive from what it was. I would watch it on FS1. I used to watch Colin Cowherd on a daily basis. And I would do it because I'm supporting Joy Taylor. I'm supporting my former co-host, one of my best friends. But I could also admit that, well, I'll also tell you for sure, like this is without question, Colin Cowherd is one of the all-time greatest sports talk show hosts. Top 5, easily. One of the all-time greats. Now, he has lost his fastball. I mean, if he was throwing 98 miles an hour before, he's throwing 70 now. He has lost his fastball. And especially now, the show becomes unwatchable because you got a little buddy, Jason McIntyre, who replaced Joy, and he is brutal. But I saw this clip from yesterday. And so I need you to tell me what's happening here. Because Colin Cowherd's show is not what it was. He's not what he was, despite being an all-time great. You could be an all-time great and you're not what you were before, all right? Hey, I'm going to go through it one day. I hope you don't think I'm there yet. It'll happen to me. But what I've noticed over the last year or so, weird things are happening on that show. And I don't know if he's fucking with us, the audience, and Colin's been open about this before, where he doesn't care if he's right or wrong. He cares if you're listening, if you're talking about him and all that. So I don't know if he's fucking with us when he does things like this or he says things like this. And then we're talking about when he doesn't know that Major League... Now here, I honestly believe he did not know, which is very embarrassing, that in Major League Baseball, you can't trade draft picks. And he's saying teams should trade all their draft picks for Shohei Ohtani. You're not allowed to do that. Like that. That's too embarrassing to decide to put out there to get clicks, to get attention, to go viral. That there are things that have happened like that where he's just been wrong. And, stuff like what's it called? Dwayne Haskins when he died and he's still on the list of QBs who aren't going to win a Super Bowl. Like that kind of stuff it's just bad. You don't want to go viral over stuff like that. But like this clip here, so Colin Cowherd does his herd hierarchy. Wherever, I do ZASLOW Show 2.0 power rankings every Tuesday. I love a good power ranking. You can't miss it. He does his herd hierarchy, I guess the same day as me, Tuesdays. And he gives his top 10. I do like top 5. He does top 10. So he has the top 10 on the board there, and he left out the Miami Dolphins.
Mac, your thoughts?
What's going on here? Where are the Miami Dolphins?
11. They have one speed. They can't beat winning teams. They have one gear.
Holy cow.
They have one gear.
Okay.
They're fast.
Gotcha.
You know what?
A massive disagreement.
On the
There's
Dolphins.
value today on Tua MVP, Dolphins to win the AFC. I'm not even joking. This defense is getting healthier.
Off a bye, strong.
So I don't understand. Does he really not believe the Dolphins are a top 10 team? Does he really believe the things he's saying there in defense of the Dolphins not being a top 10 team? Or is he fucking with us? I think he's fucking with us in this spot. Because I don't think any rational person can believe that the Dolphins are not a top 10 team in the NFL right now. Like, they only have one. And this way, by messing with us, I'm talking about it here. Dolphin fans are all talking about it. The clip is being shared everywhere from Dolphin fans. Like, this is one of those cases where I think he's doing it on purpose so that everyone's talking about it. They only have one speed. Who cares? It's like saying that you don't think Shaq was a great center. He's only able to dunk. He's just big. Who cares? He's still getting you 30 and 20 in the postseason because he's so big and so much bigger than everybody. Well, the Dolphins, if they only have one speed, well, that one speed is making them the best offense in the NFL. Who cares how you score the points if nobody can stop them because they only have one speed? It's the best offense in the league. I mean, and some of those teams that were on the list, no one scores less in the second half of a game this year than the Kansas City Chiefs. But who cares, right? I mean, Dolphins only have one speed, best offense in the NFL, but the Chiefs are better because even though they haven't scored in the second half of 3 consecutive games, one of them against Dolphins, by the way. That's right. The Chiefs have no second half points in 3 straight games. Against the Dolphins, the Broncos, and the Eagles, 2 of those losses. The Chiefs on the year are averaging just over 5 points per game in the second half. Worst in the NFL. But that's okay. Because if they had just one speed that would manage to get them lots of points in the second half, that wouldn't be okay. The Texans are on that list. The Texans are better than the Dolphins? Okay, Dolphins just got past the Raiders. Texans, the Texans who just beat the Cardinals by 5? Or the Browns? Browns just beat the Steelers by 3. They scored 13 points. The Bills, we all know the Bills lose to bad teams, but that's okay because at least you didn't lose to good teams. If you lose, and I understand if you want to say the Bills are better than the Dolphins because they beat them head-to-head, that's fine. But the Dolphins aren't even in the top 10 of the herd hierarchy. The Bills, they've lost to bad teams, but the Dolphins have lost to good teams, and that obviously cannot happen. You can't be a top 10 team if you only lose to good teams. If you lose to bad teams, then you could be in the top 10. The Bills, their only good win this year is against the Dolphins. All the Bills' other wins are bad teams. And the Bills have lost to the Jets. They've lost to the Patriots. They've lost to the Broncos. A team, by the way, Dolphins scored 70 on and won by 50. But hey, the Dolphins lost to the Chiefs and Eagles. Very bad. You can't be considered good if you lose to the Chiefs and Eagles. But if you're a game over 500 and you lose to a bunch of bad teams, then you could be top 10. Okay, God. I mean, make it make sense. It's so strange. It's so weird. Anyway, tonight, Panthers, we'll get to that in a second. They're against Boston. That's going to be so much fun. I'm not going to the game tonight. I wish I was. Tickets are way too expensive. It's going to be a rocking crowd tonight at Amerant Bank Arena. Heat tonight. Heat are at Cleveland. Max Strus against the Heat. Okay. Kevin Love back in Cleveland. Now, the Cavs played last night. They won in Philly in overtime. So, it's the second time of back-to-back for Cleveland. The Heat last played on Monday. This is a good test for the Heat, though, because the Heat have won 8 out of 9, but none of their wins in this stretch. I mean, they beat Atlanta. If you consider Atlanta good. Brooklyn's 6 and 7. The Heat haven't been tested during this stretch. They haven't beaten any good teams in these 9 games that they've won 8 of them. So Cleveland's good. They've gotten their act together. Great win last night in Philadelphia in overtime. Tonight's a real good test of the Heat. So I'm looking. Tonight's going to be great. We got the Heat. You got the Panthers on national TV. Everybody can see our favorite little hockey team. We'll enjoy the Heat broadcast tonight. Can they make it 9 out of 10? And by the way, a little bit of NBA for you too. In-season tournament yesterday. In-season tournament game for the Heat on Friday at the Knicks. And if the Heat win that game, Then you have a showdown next week at home against Milwaukee to clinch the group, to clinch the top spot in the group. Not just to advance to the quarterfinals, but you get a home game in the quarterfinals. And that matters because those games, quarterfinal game and semifinal game, count for the regular season. So you have an opportunity to have that quarterfinal game, which counts in the regular season, be a home game instead of a road game. That's pretty important. So this in-season tournament's got some juice. The Lakers last night, 4-0. They clinched quarterfinals. Pacers scored like 3,000 points last night. They clinched a quarterfinal berth as well. So I like the in-season tournament. I think it's been a lot of fun. You know what else is fun? Knowing that every single night when I go to bed, I got Sheets and Giggles. Sheets and Giggles. Go to sheetsgiggles.com. You're getting the softest, coolest, most breathable sheets out there. I lay down in bed at night. I got a eucalyptus pillow. I got a eucalyptus comforter. I got the bed sheets. I got the pillowcases. If I told you you can get the most comfortable sleep of your life and you don't have to worry about where you're getting your bed sheets, I mean, would that be something you'd be interested in? What are we talking about here? Sheetsgiggles.com. Use promo code ZASLOW. You'll get 20% off your first order. And then you go back and you take advantage of their annual fall sale. My man Colin, founder and CEO, that's my guy, is making sure that we're taking care of the environment while also putting out the promo codes. Follow them on Twitter, at SheetsGiggles. Heat win, Panther win, Dolphin win. He's constantly putting out promo codes. But the very first time you go to sheetsgiggles.com, use promo code ZASLOW, 20% off your first order. Sheetsgiggles.com, promo code ZASLOW.